What is up, you guys, and welcome back to another gameplay video where I wanted to bring you some footage of Brook, which is probably my favorite leader coming into OP15. Now, I had to mulligan because I was looking for the 8-cost Nami, which is by far the best card that you want to see, but unfortunately I didn't really have anything else going on in my hand, so we're just going to see how this goes. My opponent used their Searcher card right away and ended up grabbing their 1-cost counter event, and they were able to fill up the trash as well. For turn, I was able to draw my 0-cost event, which I'm able to play out for 1 Dawn, but first I use my leader's effect, so I'm actually able to mill 9 cards out of my deck this turn. I didn't have anything else to do, so I just passed it over to my opponent, and they drew a Peter. So along with the Mars in their hand, they already have a ton of the 5 Elders available to them, and they also even have the 10-cost 5 Elders in their hand. And obviously I didn't know this, but this is shaping up to be a pretty rough game. They used their leader's effect to just discard the Mars and draw 1, and they were able to get a Workury into their hand. So then they just stacked on onto their leader and attack, and I have no choice but to take. They pass it over to me, and I just throw down my 4-cost Zoro, getting me 2 more Dawn. So I just stack them onto my leader and attack, and then use my 0-cost event that I drew for turn to get 5 more cards into the trash. I pass it over to my opponent, and they draw a Saturn, so right away they use their stage card to play it right down to search their deck for another Searcher event, which they just use right away to grab another Mars into their hand. Then they just use their leader's effect and put the Saturn into their trash to just draw another 5 Elders before attacking me for 5, and honestly I decided to just take it here because I don't have any counters in my hand and I don't want to discard this blocker Zoro, because otherwise I just don't have a play for the next turn. So my opponent passes it over to me, and of course I draw a card that I could use, but I do want to keep some Dawn active for my counter events. So I just swing with my Zoro, then put a Dawn on my leader and attack with my leader. And both of these attacks just get cards out of my opponent's hand. Then I use my leader's effect and mill some cards off the top of my deck before playing down my blocker Zoro and leaving a Dawn card active for some of my events. I pass it over to my opponent, and they play down the Saint Shalaria that they just drew, so they're able to search their deck and also get more cards in the trash. And then he uses his leader's effect and draws another card before using his empty throne and throwing down a Mars and popping my Zoro that should have been active anyway. It's actually a mandatory effect, but it's a manual sim and I just forgot to restand him. In any case, I probably would have been happier if he just tried to attack over him rather than attacking into my leader. So he throws a Dawn onto his leader, which is actually at 7,000 power. And I do use my counter event to protect myself. Then he passes it over to me, and I draw a 2-cost Chopper, which is great because it can just grab anything out of my trash. But I don't think I want to play it because I want to play down my 8-cost Nami, which I do after I attack with my leader, which prompts him to use one of his counter events. So once I throw the Nami down, I play out the 6-cost Luffy, which actually gets 4 Dawn back, and it has Rush, and it has double attack. So I don't know what's in my opponent's hand, and I want to make sure that either this attack goes through, or it forces him to use his blocker. So I throw 2 Dawn onto my Luffy, and he does block, and I keep the extra 2 Dawn active so I can use them during my opponent's turn. My opponent uses his empty throne to play down the Peter, and then he uses Ground Death to negate my blocker. So he puts the rest of his Dawn onto his leader and attacks 9 into my Luffy, so I use my Gum Gum Storm counter event. I also have a Ground Death of my own in my hand, but I want to hold on to that one because I basically want to do the same thing to my opponent on a later turn. I want to be able to negate one of his blockers to help me go for game if needed. So after that, he just passes it to me, And I draw another 8-cost Nami, which is pretty crazy, but it's honestly not that good because I'd rather take an extra 2k or any form of counter in my hand. I use my leader's effect, so now I have 30 cards in my trash and only 10 cards in my deck. Then I just use my leader to attack, and it actually gets a card out of his life, which I was not expecting. But at the same time, I didn't think too much of it because that was the first life card that he took. Then I throw a Dawn onto my Luffy, just to make him as powerful as possible because I do want to play this 8-cost Nami and keep a Dawn active for my opponent's turn if I really need to. He actually ends up taking both of them, and so he has another 2k counter in his hand, and he has another War Fury, as well as his never existed counter event, which is definitely his strongest. I attack with my Nami afterwards, and he does use his 2k, so I just play my other Nami down and play out the 7-cost Luffy, which is coming out in OP15, which is just such a fantastic card. This guy is a 10,000 power character now, and he makes my leader's power 7,000 during my opponent's turn, which is going to be really helpful against the Peter because he's going to make all of his guys 7,000 power as well, so I'll at least stand a chance in countering out. So I attack 10 into 6, and he takes his last life card, so I'm feeling pretty good. I know that he's going to have 2 blockers during his next turn, and I'm just imagining that he has some 2Ks and some counter events. So while I don't really know what he's up to, I want to be able to hold on to my ground death. That way I'll only have to work through one of his blockers, and I just don't think he has enough cards in his hand to fight through all of my attacks. So I pass it over to him, and this is his first 10 Dawn turn, so I just know that a 5 Elders is coming. But first he does attack with his Peter, and I decide to use my blocker Zoro here because I know that a Mars is coming out, and at that point he's just going to pop my Zoro, so I might as well use him now to save a card in my hand. Then he uses his leader effect to just draw a free card, before using his empty throne and playing down the 10-cost 5 Elders. He uses the 5 Elders effect and plays out all 5 Elders, imagine that, and then he tosses a Dawn card onto his Baron and attacks into my double attack Luffy, putting him down to 5,000 power, so I technically could get out of this attack, but I know he's just going to be able to do the same thing with his leader, so no matter what, this Luffy's going to die, and I'd rather keep the ground death in my hand for the next turn. So once my Luffy hits the trash, he just attacks 6 into my Nami, which I wasn't quite expecting because I thought he was going to put at least 1 or 2 Dawn cards onto his leader, but I was pretty happy. 6 into 6 is perfectly fine. I'll just discard my Chopper. Now he passes it over to me, and at this point I really believe it's do or die time, and my draw for turn was super clutch because I can trash 5 cards from the top of my deck with this card, I can trash 4 cards from the top of my deck with Brook, and I have exactly 9 cards left in my deck. So after thinking about it for a little bit, I realized that my game plan was going to be to use Ground Death to negate one of his blockers, and then after attacking with my Luffy, mill all the cards in my deck to be able to restand this Luffy to attack again, and hopefully that'll be enough. So the first thing I do is I use the Ground Death to negate his blocker, and he just rested it so it was more clear for him. Then I threw a Dawn card onto my Nami because I wanted to get as many cards out of his hand just in case if he had a 2k counter. So after attack for 7, he gives me a 2k and a 1k, so I was pretty happy about that. 4 cards left in his hand. I felt like I was doing pretty good. I did the same exact thing and get a counter event out of his hand. Then I throw 2 Dawn cards onto my leader and attack for 7 again, which gets another counter event out of his hand. Then I mill 5 cards off the top of my deck, throw the last 2 Dawn cards onto my Luffy, and attack 12 into life. He is forced to block. And then I mill the last 4 cards out of my deck with my leader's effect, restanding my Luffy, and attack 1 more time for game. This was an incredible match. I felt like I was behind from the beginning because I didn't have the best hand. Seeing the 8-cost Nami was really helpful, but I didn't have hardly any counters, so he was able to punish me from the beginning. This is the deck that I was playing. It is an adaptation of the deck that I was playing in the tournament last week that ended up winning me the tournament. And the main change was taking out the Block 1 7-cost Luffy and replacing it with 2 more copies of the 6-cost double attack Luffy, because actually, this guy's one of my favorite guys to play off of the Nami, just because he's able to restand 4 of your Dawn cards, so you're able to just do so much more with your turn, and even make use of your counter events, and you're just really able to take your opponent by surprise with a double attack. I just really love this card so much. This new 7-cost Luffy is definitely the star of the show though, because he just makes your deck so tanky. It's so hard to attack into your leader once he's 7,000 power, and nobody's running over this guy once he's 9 and 10,000 power, so he's really easy to just keep on the field. So yeah, in conjunction with Nami, this deck is just absolutely crazy. I definitely tried a mulligan for either her or a 2-cost Chopper, just because if you don't see her, your deck isn't really doing as much. It's another reason why I added in 1 copy of the 5-cost Pirate Stocking 6. Somebody commented on the post I made about the tournament last week and made a very good point that playing at least one of these guys makes sense, because you can get your Chopper back, which can get you anything back. So I played 1 copy of him. It didn't come up, but I like the idea of him, even though he is a brick, and I don't really know what to replace for him. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're still here, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. If you want to play against me or participate in online tournaments, I host one every week, so go ahead and join my Discord. The link is in the description. They're completely free to join, and we just love to see you there. If you were wondering what this new site that I'm playing on is, it is called duelvoyager.com. I'll leave the link to it in the description of this video as well. I think it's a ton of fun. It's a much easier place to test your decks on because it's a manual sim, so if you make a mistake or realize you want to make a different play, you can easily take back your moves. Plus, you can go back and watch your duels after the fact and share those duels with your friends to help improve your gameplay. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.